everyone. Today I want to talk about school and how it affects mental health. I have found that school and mental health have a tendency to directly affect each other. If you don't really care for your mental health, your grades will suffer, and if you don't take care of your grades, your mental health is probably going to drop. However, taking care of both is really, really difficult, and I know that I've sacrificed my own mental health a lot for schoolwork and vice versa. So how does school actually affect mental health? How do we help with that? And what can we do to take care of ourselves? According to research review of school-based mental services, schools play an increasingly important role in providing mental health services to children, yet most school-based programs being provided have little to no evidence to support their impact, meaning that there is not much that we know about the effects of school-based mental health services. They also explained that even though 1/5 of children have a diagnosable mental disorder, only a small percentage ever receive intervention or treatment services, which can be a huge problem because among people aged 15 to 24, suicide is ranked as the second leading cause of death for people in that age group in 2017. In my own experience, school hasn't been where I received most of my help or really much of any of it, which is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that they're bad at their job or anything. It just means that we need to focus more on training them about a lot more mental health issues, so that there's better access to those. And while the teachers themselves have some training, I feel like it might help if they were given a bit more. In my experience, students feel more comfortable talking to their teachers because you're on a one-to-one basis with them quite a lot most times than they are the school's counselors, because that can be fairly intimidating. I spoke with my school's counselor and asked how best for you guys to reach out for help, and both of them just said to just reach out in any way you feel comfortable, whether that's going to their office, or if you're too scared to do that, emailing them, or even just talking to a teacher who can then connect you to the school counselor. Then they can help you further with getting you sources to more trained therapists. And I'm sure you're thinking that that doesn't really help you now, which is correct. It might take years to properly understand mental illnesses, let alone be able to support every single student. So what can the average student do to make school a little easier for everyone? I spent a while finding different videos that could help, and I'll link the playlist in the description. Some of them aren't completely mental health based, but all of them have somewhere in there some kind of coping skill that could help. My main things are, 1, remember that everyone else is human just like you. Everyone has fears and issues, and that just means that you aren't alone with it. If you've felt something, there's someone else in the world who has also felt it. And you'll eventually find people who understand what you've been through and are handling now. I know that I never thought that there was really many people that knew what I was going through, and then I actually opened up about the things that I was dealing with, and I found a whole group of people that completely understood and were willing to help me. So all you have to do is find those people. Number 2, school is not the most important thing in your life, which is kind of funny considering this whole channel at the moment is a school project, but it is true. Your mental and physical health should always take preference over it. If you're like throwing up, have a fever or whatever, stay home because that's putting other people at risk for that. So it's better if you just feel better. If you're depressed, anxious, panicking and such, while you maybe don't have to stay home for that, because that can be a chronic thing that happens throughout your lifetime, you can reach out for help. And a lot of teachers, especially ones I've talked to, will be completely understanding if you just go up and go like, hey, I know that I didn't do the homework last night. I was just really, really stressed out with all these different projects, and you just explain to them that you're having a hard time and can't really handle like 6 hours of homework. If things are too much, talk to someone. Figure out how to slow it down a little bit. When I explained that to my teachers, pretty much all of them were just willing to completely back off and slow things down a little bit, help me with my homework a little more. For number 3, bringing your coping tools will not make you an outcast. I know it can be scary to think about carrying something like a stuffed animal around, or to have something like a fidget cube that you're just sitting there playing with, but most people won't notice. And for an example, there's a man, Jamie, I'll link the article I found about him below, but he carries a stuffed lion with him, even to work, and he says that most people know him as Jamie and Lion, and it's really not a big deal, and at 27 years old, it shouldn't be, honestly. He carries the toy with him due to having autism, but you don't really need a reason to have that with you if it's a comfort item. They can just be nice to have. I used to carry one. Number 4. This one wasn't originally my idea, but I think it's very, very good. You should get an individualized education program, or an IEP. In the playlist that I'm linking below, I found a video from one of my own favorite mental health YouTubers, Katie Morton, and she brings up a really good idea to get an IEP. An IEP is just something to help your learning process and is really nothing to be ashamed of. You just need to talk to the school counselor about it, or your parents can even reach out and stuff. My parents thought about getting one for me, but so that I could leave the room if I was having a panic attack, but we figured I didn't really need one. It wasn't bad enough for that. You can find more information about it in Katie's video, and you can also talk to your school about it. Number 5, you don't need a lot of friends, just a few that really do care. In my entire life, I've had very few friends, and even fewer that were actually very good, potentially lifelong friends. However, this has taught me a lot about myself and the world around me. You don't really need to be friends with everyone to be happy. In fact, one really, really good friend can make up for having 100 bad ones. Number 6. Missing one class is not going to fail you. My parents used to be extremely adamant about me going to school, and I never really understood why. If I miss a few minutes of a class or skip a day for my health, it doesn't mean I'm going to fail. That's not to say you can just not go to school, but you don't have to have perfect attendance, especially if you're ill, because then you put everyone at risk of getting sick, like I said earlier. So just stay home, take care of yourself, and feel better. 7. Teachers aren't always what they seem. I've had some teachers that were an absolute nightmare, but once I didn't have them in my class, I found out they actually really liked me. Teachers I thought despised me thought that I was a brilliant student and I was going places. It doesn't always come across to students that a teacher is trying to help in the way that they think is best, but usually that's what's happening. Now, I also had a lot of home issues that changed things for me, but the teachers that I talked to about it really were understanding about why I was struggling in school and usually would let up a little bit. I'm not saying that you have to open up to your teachers and just tell them everything about your life, but just understand that they're people too, and they're really busy and probably don't have time to have it out for you. Number 8. Online friends really do count. Like I said earlier, I didn't have many friends when I was younger, not until I moved to the school I'm in now, and I turned to social media to find friends that I didn't have in real life. What I found was that most people behind the screen are just as good of friends as the ones you have sleepovers with. Yes, it can be difficult to keep up with them, but they really do care. So if you're having trouble finding somebody to relate to at school, just check out online. Obviously, be careful. Number 9. Other kids' opinions don't matter. I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about your appearance or you shouldn't choose certain outfits to make one of your friends happy. You can totally do that. But your life doesn't have to revolve around it, especially if those people won't matter to you after high school. Back in 6th and 7th grade, I got trapped in a loop of trying to fit in with all these girls around me, and I just ended up being more of an outcast because of it. When I began to come into myself and really show who I was, people opened up to being around me. It is really difficult to be who you are. Pretty much everyone in high school and above knows that. But if you find other people who are willing to listen to you and respect who you are, then it makes life a whole lot better. And finally, number 10. You really don't have to put up with other people's BS. One of the hardest things to do is take care of yourself. It can be difficult for us to see when other people are detrimental to our lives and we need to just cut them off. That's something you really just learn in time, but it's an important thing to learn. When someone begins to treat you badly or you get nervous when their name appears on your phone, you should probably reassess their part in your life. Explain that things aren't going the way they need to be and you need some space. Disclaimer, this is not talking about abusive people. If someone is dangerous for you to cut off or tell them to leave you alone, then find help. Talk to a staff member at school, talk to a parent, someone who can help protect you, even just a couple of friends who can watch out for you. and could reach out to adults on their own. I will eventually be doing a video about abuse and different things you can do to keep yourself safe. Anyway, there may be different reasons why you can't follow one or more of these, and that's totally okay. Everyone's experience is different. That's what I've gotten out of school and how I manage my mental health with it. How do you manage yours?
Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and sign in for my next video. Excited to see you there!